Welcome, friends, to my kitchen. Bem-vindos à minha cozinha. It is bright and early here in California, and I need to make some scones for some orders. I think I've made this once before, but there's always newcomers coming in and subscribers that don't know that I have these recipes, so I thought I would make another video. I'm gonna make lemon blueberry scones. This is so good to have it, especially if you like me, something in the afternoon, sometimes to just kind of munch and you try to stay within healthier stuff. This is one way that I do it. These particular ones I'm going to make it to sell, so they're going to be a big size, but you can make them smaller and then freeze them and then just bake them or reheat them whenever you want. I have here 4 cups all-purpose flour. I'm going to need 1 cup of butter. It needs to be cold butter. It's still in the fridge. I have 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, lemon zest, baking powder, baking soda, and salt, and 2 eggs. And then I'm going to use frozen blueberries, but you can use fresh if you prefer that way. This is one thing that when I want something to pick me up, I go straight to this because this is so easy. And I made this a couple days ago for me and a friend, and another friend requested if I made some for her, so I'm doing some videos today, so I figure I would show you this recipe, especially for those people that are coming new. Eu estou fazendo uma receita que é uma coisa doce, mas não é assim tão doce que a gente não possa comer, especialmente se tem problemas com açúcar. É blueberry scones. Eu não sei como o nome disso em português, então vão me desculpar. Eu faço muita coisa e vendo daqui da minha casa. Eu tenho um permite que eu posso vender coisas da minha casa. So, o meu negócio é fazer coisas e vender daqui da minha casa. So, por isso, eu faço muita comida e faço muita coisa. E eu vou fazer isto e para vender, e tenho uma amiga minha que fiz e ela, outra amiga pediu e experimentei e gostei e queria que eu fizesse. So, eu vou fazer um vídeo e é por isso que eu estou fazendo esta receita. Eu tenho a receita em português e em inglês na descrição, só podem ver a receita e fazer, que isto é uma coisa boa que se pode fazer e pôr na freezer. Anyway, so I put my sugar. I'm going to zest 1 lemon in here. And I have a lot of lemons because I picked from a friend. So I'm still trying to use lemons. Anyway, I love scones. Doesn't matter what kind of scones. I tried scones years ago and it was so dry that I go, it's got to be a better way for me to make this and not be so dry. So once I found it, I'm hooked. So I add my sugar, my lemon zest, my baking powder, and baking soda goes in. Okay, you want to add all your dry ingredients together. And now I'm going to get the butter. Like I said, the butter needs to be very cold. And how I do the butter, I grate it. I find that it's the easier way to distribute the butter throughout the scone and less work because you can also do this in a food processor if you choose to, but this is a larger quantity. It would be too much for me to do in a food processor. Sometimes it's more work to clean. So I just use my grater, and then what I do, I get my butter rolled in the flour so it doesn't stick so much, and then I keep putting flour on top of the butter so it doesn't clump. Otherwise, it will be clumping, and then it'll be hard for you to get it out. Get in there. So anyway, like I said, I used to make these scones from selling my store, and they would always go. And this lemon blueberry is one of my favorites. And I just, like I said, I happened to make it for a friend that came over a couple days, and she shared with another friend. She goes, I want some. So anyway, and that's what I'm going to do today. Today is going to be for some baking. And I love this, like today, it's cold outside, and it's perfect day to be inside and cooking and baking. So I'm going to grate all these, each cube as half a cup. I need 1 whole cup of butter. I'm doubling the recipe, so when I leave in the description, I'll just leave the 1 recipe, so it won't be so much, but because I'm selling. And then I'm going to go to Idaho, and I want to take some for my grandkids. They love this. So anyway, see, this is how easy it is. You grate the whole thing, and it's all blended. And by rolling the butter and the flour, it doesn't clump up so much. It stays, it coats the butter that it doesn't stay clumped up. And then I just go with my hands, gentle, and then just separate all that butter with the flour. And that's it. This is very easy. And you can make this and then cut it and freeze it separate in a cookie sheet, individual, and then put it in a bag, a Ziploc bag, and then just take what you need. That's how I do it. So now I make a hole, and I'm going to crack my 2 eggs into, in here I have half a cup of yogurt, and then half a cup of half and half, or even just milk. But the recipe does not ask to use the yogurt, but I have some yogurt. I need to get rid of it before we take off. And it makes the scone very moist. Okay? I have the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice go in here. The vanilla goes in here. Okay? I'm going to put my blueberries before I mix that. So the blueberries coat with the flour and they stay separate. I need a cup and a half because these are big. If they were small, I would say 2 cups, but because these are really big blueberries. And I use frozen because they're easier, and I always have them in my freezer. Okay, and it makes it also the scone moist because of but you want to do this fast when you take it out. Don't leave those blueberries out for too long. I need a spatula. I'm going to take all this goodness out of here. And now we just mix. And this will be a crumbling mixture. It's not a wet mixture. It is very crumbling, and that's what we want. And you don't want to work this too much, so it'll make a tough scone. So we just want to incorporate until most of the flour are incorporated. It's okay if there's some pieces that are not, because when we go to work the dough to shape them, it will work. It will get incorporated. But you want most of it. If it's too dry, then add a little bit more milk, because this depends the flours. Depend if you add blueberries that are frozen or fresh. So, but this is a delicious biscuit kind of thing. I'm gonna go with my hands because that's how I know how it feels. With the spatula, it's moving around, but I can't feel if there's enough moisture. Okay, it has enough. I'm gonna get some, you can do it on your counter, but I like to do mine over parchment paper. It makes it easy to shape them and it less mess. Okay, so I'm gonna divide this mixture into two. And as you can see, it's very crumbly. Okay. And then what I do is with a parchment paper, I'm going to shape it into a disc or into a ball. And we just keep working it around it. Okay. I think I need a little bit more in here. And by doing this, I'm not dirtying my hands. I'm not working the dough, so I'm not warming up that butter because you want that butter to stay cold. Because once the butter goes to the oven, that butter stays between the dough. And when it goes to the oven, that's what makes the little pockets. And it makes flaky scone. So you want to work as less as possible with your hands because you want that butter stay really cold. And if your butter got warm before you put it in the oven, put it in a refrigerator. I've done that, especially when I'm making large quantities. I can't bake all at once. I put it in a refrigerator for a few minutes, and that's it. Okay? And then I'm going to cut it into 8. So this is going to give me 8 scones. Nice size scones. If you wanted to do for yourself, you cut them in smaller pieces. Put them here in my cookie sheet. My oven is preheated at 350. And we're going to bake these. This is something I was not brought up eating, but everybody that I make, even my grandkids, all my grandkids love scones. So, okay. I'm going to shape the other one. And then I'm going to keep this one in the refrigerator until my oven is done. And then until I'm ready to put these in the oven. So that butter doesn't melt. And I'll show you. Okay, friends, I finished shaping my scones. And now I'm going to brush it with some heavy cream or just some milk. I have half and half. I'm just going to brush it a little bit. If you were not going to put a glaze, I'm going to put a glaze over this. You could put some raw sugar on top so this will crisp up the top. It'll make a nice crunch. But I'm going to put a glaze over, so I'm not doing that. Okay, stay there. And this gives a nice color to the top. Here it is, my scones before we go to the oven. They're going to bake for about 15 to 18 minutes. The ovens as they start getting golden on top. Okay, friends, so now I'm going to do the glaze. This is a glaze that I made a couple days ago when I had my friend over. I had some left over, so I'm going to use it. I have 1 lemon juice, whatever lemon juice it gets you, or whatever the amount you need. I used a whole lemon. This thing was almost full, and I have half. But this is good. I always have some like this in my fridge because even like cake, angel food cake. My husband loves this. So I always have it in my fridge. Some like this. But anyway, so it's lemon juice, powdered sugar, and I'm going to put lemon zest. It makes a nice lemony glaze. Okay, I think this lemon got it all that they could give. And you just mix it until you get the consistency that you want. I want a drizzling consistency, so if it falls consecutive out of your spoon, that's what you want. Okay, so I have this done. Okay, friends, my scones just came out of the oven. And as soon as they come out, I glaze them. I go on top and just drizzle some of this glaze. Okay. And it gives that sweetness, but you'll have that tartness of the lemon juice on top. Don't skip this. This makes the whole scone delicious. I do this in the pan here so the excess can drizzle on the cookie sheet. And then I take them and put them in cooling rack. Okay, friends, my scones are cooling. I'm going to put them in here to cool. They already finish. They absorb that glaze. So whatever excess there was is in a cookie sheet, so it doesn't go all over my counter. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Do you see this? Look at these layers. Fluffy, delicious. Okay, friends, here it is, all my scones. Look at this. Look how soft. This is not dry. Not a dry scone. And the thing is, it's not sweet, very sweet at all. Even though we put that glaze, it's not sweet because of the tartness of the lemons. This is my breakfast this morning. That's why I started with this recipe. Anyway, so I'll leave the recipe in the description in English and in Portuguese. So you give it a try to this recipe. Aqui está a minha receita que fiz com blueberry scones. Isto é um biscoito inglês. E isto é uma coisa deliciosa. Se tu experimentares e fizeres, vão gostar. Eu vou deixar a receita em português na descrição. So, experimentem a fazer isto. Tão bom. Anyway, I got a busy day ahead of me. I'm going to start doing more baking. Until next time, have a good day. Let's get cooking.